لاشوں کے مقتل میں کھڑی ہے زینب، درمیان لاشوں کے مقتل میں کھڑی ہے زینب، اس اندھیرے میں کسے ڈھونڈ رہی ہے زینب، درمیان لاشوں کے مقتل میں کھڑی ہے زینب، سب کی نظریں ہیں چمکتے ہوئے خنجر کی طرح، سب کی نظریں ہیں چمکتے ہوئے خنجر کی طرح، بھائی کا خشک گلا دیکھ رہی ہے زینب، ہاتھ اٹھا کر کرے کس طرح سے لاشوں کو سلام، ہاتھ اٹھا کر کس طرح سے لاشوں کو سلام، ہاتھ رسی میں ہیں شانوں سے بندھی ہے زینب، چھوڑ کر بھائی کو مقتل سے ہو رخصت کیسے، چھوڑ کر بھائی کو مقتل سے ہو رخصت کیسے، لاش سے اٹھی ہے پھر اٹھ کے گری ہے زینب، شہ پہ چلتے ہوئے خنجر کو بھلا کیا معلوم، شہ پہ چلتے ہوئے خنجر کو بھلا کیا معلوم، کس طرح خاک پہ غش کھا کے گری ہے زینب، تیرے سر پہ یہ نہ نکلے گی، نکلتے دم تک تیرے بالوں میں جو یہ خاک پڑی ہے زینب، درمیان لاشوں کے مقتل میں کھڑی ہے زینب۔ بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات۔ محمد و آل محمد صلوات۔ اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد۔ سورہ فاتحہ۔ زینب جو ننگے پاؤں کھڑی تھی قریب در، زینب جو ننگے پاؤں کھڑی تھی قریب در، عباس جا کے دیتے تھے یہ دم بدم خبر، روئے نہ اب حضور مہم ہو چکی ہے سر، لاکھوں سے لڑ رہے ہیں غضب آپ کے پیسے، لاکھوں سے لڑ رہے ہیں غضب آپ کے پیسے، زور آج پھر دکھا دیا خیبر کشائی کا، اب تو انہیں کے ہاتھ ہے میدان لڑائی کا، یہ ذکر تھا کہ بھائی کو حضرت نے دی صدا، عباس آؤ گھر گئے زینب کے دلربا، دوڑے صدا یہ سنتے ہی عباس باوفا، اثنائے راہ میں علی اکبر نے یہ کہا، اثنائے راہ میں علی اکبر نے یہ کہا، زندہ رکھا فلک نے پاسو بہانے کو، چلیے حضور جاتے ہیں لاشیں اٹھانے کو، چلیے حضور جاتے ہیں لاشیں اٹھانے کو، پیاری بہن کے بیٹوں کا دیکھا جو شہنہاں، تن چاک چاک ہے گل سب برگ کی مثال، الجھے ہیں پیچ کھائے ہوئے گیسوؤں کے پاس اودے ہیں ہوٹ چاند سے چہرے لہو سے لال ماتھے ہیں شق سروں سے امامے بھی دور ہیں سب چھوٹی چھوٹی پسلیاں تیغوں سے چور ہیں سب چھوٹی چھوٹی پسلیاں تیغوں سے چور ہیں چلائے گردنوں کے تلے ہاتھ دے کے شاہ منہ سے ملا منہ کے میرا حال ہے تباہ آنکھوں میں دم تھا بولتے کیوں کر وہ رشک ماں روتے تھے نبض دے کے عباس عرش جان روتے تھے نبض دے کے عباس عرش جان دنیا سے کوچ کرتے تھے بچے پلے ہوئے ہاتھوں میں تھے حسین کے ملکے ڈھلے ہوئے کچھ ابھی تھا دم کے انہیں لے چلے ایک لاش کو تو آپ لیے تھے شہینا اور ایک لاش حضرت عباس نے کہنا خیمہ تھا سامنے کے بذات ہوئی تمام جیتے نہ پہنچے ہائے غضب خیمہ گاہ میں دونوں صغیر مر گئے اثناء راہ میں جیتے نہ پہنچے ہائے غضب خیمہ گاہ میں دونوں صغیر مر گئے اثناء راہ میں زینب جو ننگے پاؤں
Jazakallah, brothers, for that recitation. Now, before I have Sayyid Qazwini start his lecture, we have a special presentation by one of our students from our Sunday school. Let's recite a loud salawat and welcome Brother Ahsan Rizvi as he speaks on the life of Imam Hussain. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Please recite Surah Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today is the 6th night of Muharram. Day by day, the scene in Karbala is changing. More and more soldiers join the enemy's camp. Thousands have gathered to kill Imam Hussain, the grandson of the Holy Prophet. Lady Zainab said to her brother, "Brother Hussain, thousands of soldiers are gathering to fight you. We have hardly 72 men with us. Do you not have anyone to come to your aid?" My sister Zainab, many wanted to join me during the journey from Medina to Karbala. I politely discouraged them because their intention was not truthful. Many joined and have run away during the journey because they were scared of dying. He continued, "Zainab, my sister, falsehood can buy many supporters, but truth has only a few friends. The soldiers on the other side have been bought. They prefer happiness in this world over the hereafter. My 72 truthful men prefer happiness in the hereafter, and that is why they are with me. That night, Imam Hussein wrote a letter to his childhood friend Habib ibn Mazahir, who was in Kufa. Kufa was blocked off and nobody was allowed to leave. Habib ibn Mazahir did not know the whereabouts of Imam Hussein until that letter arrived at his house. At the time, he was having breakfast with his wife and a young son. Habib read the letter from Imam Hussein. He kissed it and tears began to flow from his eyes. His wife asked him what was wrong. Habib said, I have received a letter from my master Hussein. He has asked me to join him in Karbala. Yazid's soldiers have surrounded him and are after his life. Habib's wife said, Habib, your Imam has called you. Your master needs your help. What are you waiting for? Go, Habib, before it's too late. Habib's worry was how to escape from Kufa without being seen. He instructed his slave to take his horse to a farm outside the city and to wait for him there. The slave did as he was told. The slave took Habib's horse to a farm outside the city. He waited for his master. His master was delayed. The slave started talking to the horse. "O horse, Master Hussein is in trouble. He needs help. He has asked my master Habib to join him. Master Habib is late. If he does not manage to escape from Kufa, I will ride with you and go to Hussein's help." At Asr time, most of the men were in the masjid. Habib managed to reach the farm where his horse was waiting. He quickly mounted his horse and said to his slave, "Go, my friend, go. I am freeing you from my services." "Master, you are not being fair. I have served you faithfully for years. Now that I have a chance to serve the son of Lady Fatima, and you are asking me to go? Why are you denying me a place in heaven?" Habib was taken aback by the words of his slave. He was pleased to hear that he had recognized the difference between the truth and the wrongful. He wanted to sacrifice his life for truth. Habib asked his slave to mount his horse. Together they galloped towards Karbala. Habib reached Karbala late in the evening. Imam Hussein greeted him with great affection. Lady Zainab heard that Habib had come. She asked her maid, Fizza, to convey her greetings to Habib. When Habib heard that Lady Zainab had sent greetings to him, he screamed out in grief and anger. He threw his turban down onto the ground. He slapped his face. Tears rolled down his cheeks as he spoke. What a sad day. What has happened to the household of Lady Fatima, the princess, granddaughter of the Holy Prophet? The daughter of Ali and Fatima is sending her greetings to an ordinary person like me. Yazid, what have you done to the household of Lady Fatima? Day and nights of Muharram passed by and Ashura came. At dawn, Ali Akbar gave adhan for the last time. Yazid's soldiers blew the trumpets to start the battle. One by one, Hussein's companions went to the battlefield and gave their lives for Islam. Hussein, Abbas, and Ali Akbar were busy from dawn to midday collecting bodies from the battlefield. Between Zohar and Asr time, Habib ibn Mazahir came to Hussein. He said, "My master, Hussein, allow me to go to the battlefield. Let me sacrifice my life for Islam." "Habib, my old friend, stay with me. You give comfort to me, my friend." Habib persisted with his request. Eventually, Hussein gave his permission. Hussein mounted his friend Habib on the horse. Habib ibn Mazahir rode into the battlefield. He fought bravely but was finally overpowered. He fell to the ground. As Habib ibn Mazahir fell to the ground, an enemy soldier came over and cut off his head. All the martyrs of Karbala had their heads cut off, but Habib's was the first to be cut off by the enemy. Later on in Sham, Habib's head was tied to a horse's neck. A young boy called Qasim followed the horse wherever it went. One day the man riding the horse asked young Qasim, "Why are you following me around? What do you want?" Qasim just looked at the head hanging from the horse's neck. The man asked again, "Why are you staring at the head?" This is the head of my father, Habib ibn Mazahir. Please give it to me so that I can at least bury my father's head. The soldier said that not even 100 dirham was enough for the son to buy his father's head. This head was given to buy paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Salawat.
Jazakallah, brother Hassan, for that wonderful speech. And it just makes us so happy to see the youth be involved in our programs because it's really the youth who will carry this message of Imam forward. Once we're all gone, it's really the youth that will be here to tell the stories after we're long gone. So let's recite another loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now I would like to welcome esteemed scholar Sayyid Jawad Qazwini to the member and to bless us with some words in honor of Imam Hussain. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
السلام عليكم. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله، صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة، غريب مظلوم كربلاء. All of us together, it is Thursday night, and many of the precious nights of the Aza of Imam al-Hussein have passed. Let us salute him all the way from here to Karbala. Assalamu ala al-Husayn wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn wa ala awlad al-Husayn وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الكريم: وقوله الحق وهو أصدق الصادقين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا سمعنا فتى يذكرهم يقال له إبراهيم. So in your gathering with the remembrance of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, as a gift to the soul of all the marhumeen who have died with the love of Imam al-Hussein, recite the second salawat. For Allah to shower onto this gathering with His infinite mercy and compassion, to hasten the reappearance of Sayyidina wa Mawlana Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, recite the third salawat with the loudest of your voices. When I was at the seminary, I would spend a lot of my spare time at the local bookstores. Like many of the students of the Hawza, you would look around to try and find new books so that we can read in our spare time. And I came across a book called Qasasul Ulama, the stories of the grand scholars. And I had heard a lot of praise for this book, and I was eager to read this book so that I can read of the resilience and the dedication of the scholars, those who spend a lifetime learning the Holy Quran, the religion of Islam, the traditions of the Ahlul Bayt, so that they can teach others. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam says they are the best of people. They are the best of people. خيركم, the best of you. خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. The ones that learn the Quran, its teachings, its principles, its lessons, they learn it and they teach it. And of course, all the knowledge of Islam stems from the Holy Quran. And this book has a lot of fascinating stories. It has a lot of beautiful stories. It has a lot of inspirational stories. However, one of those stories really stuck with me. And I often think and reminisce over the story. It is the story of a scholar who went to Najaf, and he spent many years in Najaf. And he became a mujtahid. And then he returned back to his town, his city. And when he returned, people welcomed him wholeheartedly. They received him. And he became a servant of the people. He began to allocate all his time for his community. And there are many stories about this scholar. Amongst the stories is that he never said no to anyone. If people asked him for something, he tried his best to accommodate. To a point that they say sometimes people wanting a loan would say to him, if you come with us, this person is probably more likely going to give us this loan. He would say, fine. If my presence is going to help you get a loan, I'll come. To that degree, he was a people's man. However, with all of that said and done, he did not have enough time to spend with his family, with his own children, which left a vacuum. And one of his sons became a teenager. In the very early days of his teenage years, he unfortunately started hanging out with the wrong group of friends, and because of the wrong peer pressure, he made some bad decisions. And one day in the middle of the night, as his father was resting, he saw a group of people. They're holding down his son, and they wrapped up his hands and tied him up, and they brought him to the house, and they said, Maulana, your son is a thief. He has stolen. Either you pay us back or we amputate his hand. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, brothers, tests us. And amongst the greatest of tests are the tests with one's children. And the greater the iman, the greater the test. The hadith says if Allah loves a abd, He wants to elevate him. But He doesn't elevate him for free. Allah doesn't give anything for free. He puts him through trials. And due to those trials, He elevates his ranking if he exercises sabr. الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ, those who were inflicted by musibah, الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ راجعون. Many people, they came, Maulana, we will pay, don't worry. He said, no, I cannot accept personal favors. And the story goes that he had to go and work in some farmland. He's a mujtahid, he's a alim, to pay back the people. And imagine how life tests you. From one end, it's his son who needed his attention, and the attention wasn't there and he made his mistake. And the shameless community that did this, of people, a few people who wanted to bring him down and bring shame to him. So he, between those two things, imagine the pain he had to go through. But yet, he was able to make it. He paid them back. They released his son. When his son came out, people make mistakes. He heard of what happened to his father and how he was incarcerated for a while. He said, Father, I'm going to leave the city. I cannot face you. I cannot face the community. I'm going to leave. And he left. And he made his way towards Najaf al-Ashraf. Najaf al-Ashraf, where if you have a haja, you take it to Amir al-Mu'mineen and you see the miracles. يا صاحب القبة البيضاء في النجف من زار قبرك واستشفى لديك شفي. Imam had a white dome. People would go and recite this poem. That's all the man who has the white dome. Whoever comes to you with a illness, with a haja, you leave it with Amir al-Mu'mineen. He cried the whole way. He wept. He said, Ya Allah, I want a new beginning. I want tawbah. I want my father to forgive me. I want this misery to go away. I made a bad mistake. That is why, brothers, youngsters, it is very important who you hang out with and who you choose as your friends. This is a very important lesson. Stay away from troublemakers. They will drag you down with them. He went to Najaf. He arrived to Najaf. Things were difficult. He had no money. He didn't know anyone. He studied. And he studied. And he studied. And he studied. And Allah helps him. Allah helps those who take His path. Allah aids those who want to aid Him. Allah helps and loves those who have tawbah. And soon he joined the ranks of great scholars. And soon he was sitting next to the Grand Marji'. And he became somebody close to the Grand Marji' because he was a pious, righteous, good student of ilm. And one day, as he was sitting next to the Grand Marji', and they were discussing some masail, a delegation came, entered the house of the Marji', into the presence of the Marji'. He looked and he recognized them. They didn't recognize him, but he recognized them. All of them. Who were they? They sat with the Marji'. They said to him, Agha, we have some terrible news. The alim in our city has passed away. Though he wasn't too old, but he passed away. He had a heart attack and he passed away. Who were they? They were the people from his city who had passed away, his own father. So he was in tears. And they said to the Marji', they said, now we need a alim. We need a alim who's going to fill the shoes of this man. And the Marji' knew which city they're from. So he said, take him. He's from your city. He's a alim. He's a mujtahid. He's a pious, righteous man. They looked at him. They said, you are from our city? We don't know you. What's your name? Who are you? Who's your father? And he burst out in tears. He said, I am the boy that stole. But today Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has turned things around for me. One day he was a thief. Next day he became the mujtahid of their town. They took him back. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala resolves problems, brothers and sisters, especially if people have true tawbah. There are many beautiful lessons in the story. However, one thing is for sure, and that is once we have teenagers at home, we have to understand that no matter what our home dynamics are, if the father is a mujtahid, a alim, a doctor, engineer, businessman, your child, your teenage child needs special attention. They need time. They need love. It's a very delicate period. Spare yourself the pain and the embarrassment. All it takes is you spend some time with them. You listen to them. You make them a priority. That is why it's only meaningful, brothers and sisters, that our community invests in the youth. Like you just heard, they are the future. If you spend time with your son, with your daughter in their teenage years, and you also make sure that the time that you spend with the religious institution, such as this, majalis, is also done with your family. It's not separating your family. You all engage and learn. You save yourself the headache, the embarrassment, the pain if they make mistakes. And Allah alludes to this in the Quran. Allah speaks of this in the Holy Quran. That's why you find the story of the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. Nuh and his son. Why does Allah trying to, na'udhu billah, embarrass Nuh? No, He's not. Expose the personal story of, no. Allah is trying to tell me and you, be careful. Open your eyes. Things like this will happen. You will be tested in such ways. Allah also gives us the example in chapter 12 of Surah Yusuf. Yusuf and his brothers. Their father was Yaqub. Allah also gives us the story of the 7 sleepers of the cave, Ashab al-Kahf. Allah also speaks a great deal about Ibrahim when he was young. A great deal about Musa when he was young. All those stories so that we can open our eyes. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam, says to us Muslims, he says, when you want answers, when you want solutions, go to the Quran. Especially now, brothers and sisters, when it's dark, we have no electricity, the city's the way it is, we have to use navigation. If you don't have navigation, you'll never arrive. And navigation brings you to safety. In a safe route, it brings you to your destination. Imam Ali says the Quran is your navigation system. It delivers you in the most precise location in the shortest and safest time. But you have to use the Quran. You have to ask the Quran. You have to treat the Quran as a book that is alive, not a book that is dead. You have to read the Quran. That is why all those stories are in the Quran. Not for me just to read some stories, but to draw lessons from them. And that is why we have the Ahl al-Bayt to guide us. Today, brothers and sisters, many of us, we feel we are drowning. Our families have problems. Our children have problems. Our teenagers have problems. And this is why we come to the majalis of Imam Hussein, not just to cry. Rasulullah says, إِنَّ الْحُسَيْنَ مِصْبَاحُ الْهُدَى وَسَفِينَةُ النَّجَاةِ. He is the torch of enlightenment. If you are in a state of darkness, if you've lost power in life, Hussein is the torch of light. He's the generator. He generates light for you. With him you escape from darkness. Those are the words of Rasulullah. وَسَفِينَةُ النَّجَاةِ is also the rescue boat. When the grand ship is struck and they have to evacuate people, they bring them rescue boats to take them quickly to their safe destination. Imam al-Hussein is that safety. He's that rescue boat, according to Rasulullah. So when we gather to the majalis of Imam al-Hussein, we have to create repairs within our families. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, within the Holy Quran and within the traditions of Ahl al-Bayt, brothers and sisters, there is a special emphasis on a theme that until today, just now in America, they have realized that this is true. And it's come to our families and our communities by storm. That privileged, affluent children will be unhappy at times. We don't think the only thing that's going to bring my children happiness if I put them in the best school, if I give them tutors, if I send them on the best vacations, if I give them the best house, if I give them the best food, if they only wear brands. That's not the recipe to happiness. Today in America, studies indicate drug abuse is mostly within affluent homes. The most unhappy children are from affluent homes. Some kid doesn't have proper food to eat. He doesn't have pair of, clean shoes. Lives in a very small home. In an impoverished neighborhood, is happier than the kid that lives in a large home and has everything that he or she desires. This is America. We live in this country. Those are real facts that I am sharing with you. Children who seem to be confident, happy, prosperous, coming from loving homes, dedicated parents, are the unhappiest today. There is a book, please go read it. The Price of Privilege. How teenagers in American affluent homes are unhappy. This is a PhD thesis. Go read it. It tells you why. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also emphasizes on this in the Quran. The Ahl al-Bayt also speak about this. That don't think that the only way for you to secure happiness for your children is by focusing on the materialistic part of their existence. And I will talk about this, inshallah, as we continue. Some things, brothers and sisters, we have to change as individuals. Parents, also I will be speaking to our younger friends. But some mistakes we make are as a community that makes us unhappy. Meaning we could be happy. As a community, sometimes we make mistakes, and they're multi-generational mistakes, and nobody stops those mistakes, and they make us unnecessarily unhappy. And some of us believe this is Islamic. The mistake we're making is Islamic. And we hold people responsible because they are sinful. In fact, it is not Islamic. And to believe it is Islamic is sinful, because you are creating laws of your own, attributing them to God, and God says, I didn't create them. I'm going to use a few examples, but I have to be frank. I have to be open. I have to be candid. This is the time for change. Brothers, there is nothing wrong with taking care of your parents. In fact, there is something beautiful in Islam. The religion of Islam emphasizes that it is my duty to take care of my old aging father, mother. However, it is not my wife's duty. How many times do you think every day I hear this? Emails. Some of our sisters remain unmarried because of this. Many homes have problems today because of this. If you follow the teachings of Islam, nowhere you'll find that if a girl marries into a family, she automatically has to become their maid. And her responsibility is to cook for the whole house, clean the whole house. What? There's no such thing. You are enforcing something that is not Islamic. It is part of your culture. Rasulullah came and said, culture is not above religion. Religion is above culture. And there is nothing more sacred than the institution of family. You cannot jeopardize the peace within the home because of multi-generational practices. Yes, it's my duty to take care of my father. I have to figure it out. It is my duty to take care of my mother. But I cannot burden someone and begin a family where I am doing something good to my parents, but I'm doing some dhulm on the other side as well. That is not right. And this needs to start from the top, from the parents. Change needs to come from the top. And some cultures I have seen that the older brother, though there is a father, he's there, mashallah. Maybe he's older or he's unwell. The older brother acts as the father. The older brother does not have such an authority. Islamically, he does not have such an authority. Islamically, he cannot bully his younger siblings, especially his sisters. Today, many sisters email me, say, Sayyid, I want to get married. My father is okay. But my brother doesn't let me. My brother says he's not good. This is not acceptable. This is un-Islamic. You cannot stop someone's fate in marriage just because I don't like this man. If she's made her decision, she's made her decision. I see today in some cultures, the weddings have become extremely lavish. Extremely lavish. Not just the wedding, but the pre-marriage ceremony. Days on, in yachts and in white sand beaches and in exclusive clubs. By the time this wedding is over, you've spent about $500,000, $250,000. But for our image, because culturally we are who we are, we have to spend this money. Who told you have to do that? Some people are now asking for big dowries. Those are real things, brothers and sisters. Some mothers asking big dowries for their daughters. And some of the young men who we have, I don't know how they call themselves men, because a man would not do this. He wants a wife that makes more money than him. He wants to sit at home. He wants to be lazy. And he wants his wife to bring in the money. Those are things we need to stop. This is unacceptable. Let me ask you, is there a rule that says if a woman's dowry is $1 million, she's going to be happy? That in 6 years she's not going to have problems in her home? Is there such a rule? Have you heard of such a thing? Or if you have a wedding with a price tag of $250,000 to $500,000, then this wedding for 3 years, I'm not even going to say 30, for 3 years they're not going to have a fight at their home. Is there such a thing? Never. Or if they, for example, have their wedding in Cancun or Miami or whatever it may be, or their, the extravagant spending, then there's going to be a very happy marriage. No such thing, brothers. No such thing, sisters. The happiest couple and the greatest couple and the most noble couple and the purest couple was whom? In the history of the universe. Fatima al-Zahra and Amir al-Mu'minin. Her ceremony was simple. Her dowry was simple. The demands were not extravagant. And they produced from that house Imam al-Hussein, who we're saluting tonight. We gather for Imam al-Hussein, we cry for Imam al-Hussein, but we don't want to take the lessons from their lives into our home. We don't want to change. And I salute some parents that stand and say, no, I will not continue this multi-generational mistake. I have the money. I have $200,000. I'm buying my son a house. He has a house. MashaAllah, Allah has blessed him. I will give him some money to start a business. He has a business, Allah has blessed him, I'm going to go and marry 20 people with that money. And make them happy. And because of their happiness and their dua, my son will be okay. My daughter-in-law will be okay. My home will be okay. What is sadaqah? Rasulullah swears, he says, Wallah, as-sadaqatu tutfa'ul bala, walau ibrama ibrama. That sadaqah removes bala from a household even if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had willed it. He changes His will. He changes His fate after you pay sadaqah. If you want your children to have happiness, marry your son. Also go and find a poor man and marry him. Find a poor yatima somewhere in your back home villages. Give them money. Get married. Let them establish a family. That sadaqah jariyah will protect your family. Will protect your children. So there are collective changes that we need to make, and there are individual changes that we need to make. One of the individual changes that we need to make, brothers and sisters, is that when we are passionate parents, when we are loving parents, dedicated parents, we may make the mistake of too much intervention. Too much intervention. That's how your children do not have a sense of independence. He wakes up, he goes to sleep. It's all a schedule, a routine. If one thing goes wrong, this child has no idea how to get himself out of it. And you're telling them every single day, from the time they wake up until the time to what to do. Give them lecture after this, after that. This, brothers and sisters, has proven never to work. And this is the theory in this book. That affluent parents, look, you've all worked so hard. I know some people who have come to this country with empty pockets, and they worked hard. And they send their kids to school, and they got them tutors, and they put them they got them the best houses, and they gave them the best food, and now he's thinking, what is wrong with my son? I had none of this when I was growing up. This guy has everything, and yet he's still unhappy. You had something called independence. Your children need independence. Let them make some mistakes. It's okay. They will slip, they will fall. Teach them to stand. You can never stop them from failing, but you can teach them to stand after they fall. That's the role of a parent. Also, putting too much pressure, brothers and sisters, to overachieve sometimes can become very toxic. You either create perfectionists, and a perfectionist, it lives with them until the moment they die. And we all have seen, you set the table, and there's one little fork that's a little tilted. They cannot eat. They have to get up, fix that fork, sit down. It's really in their nature. After everybody's gone to sleep, they walk around the house, The remote control, it's a little tilted, I have to fix it. Temperature, 72.5, everything. They can't. They're perfectionists. You go to their desk, it's like nobody even uses this desk. You go to their office, their library. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. This person made it. He became a perfectionist, but only 25% become perfectionists. The rest, they fall off. They say it's too much, we can't handle it. Bye-bye. So you either have very hard-working perfectionists, or, unfortunately, people who have nothing to offer because it was too intense for them. And I want to say a few words with my younger brothers and sisters, the youth, or youth to be, inshallah. One of the greatest weapons against you, worst drugs against you without you knowing and realizing, is TV And I know this sounds very redundant, and you probably think, Sayyid, what is he about to say? Just listen to me. When I was growing up, and I had the sensation of being a young teen, some movie came out. You probably guys have heard of it, because I've heard it's like it has about 12 sequences. It was called Fast and Furious. See, Murtaza is already smiling because at that time when that movie came out, I was a teenager. I'm going to give you this example so you know it takes the best of us. There is no such thing as I watch TV and I don't get influenced. I watch TV and it doesn't do anything to me. No such thing. And I remember this vividly when we came out of the movie theater after watching Fast and Furious 1. Kids with little Ford Focus and Nissan Sentra, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, trying to race out of the movie theater. Like, they're all part of the movie. You can't help but to take that with you. And sometimes it stays. And it became a trend, people fixing up their cars. And they didn't have money, so they have to the only thing they could do is buy the big mufflers that made that very loud, obnoxious sound. And if you go to this teenager and you say, what are you doing? He says, this is life for me. I'm living the life right now. A lot of kids actually died. I know kids that died because of speeding. Because, the main actor in the movie died because he was speeding. So don't tell me that watching TV isn't going to affect me. Watching TV is meant to affect you. It's meant to change you. It's meant to leave an influence on you. I remember at the time there was a show, a very famous show. I won't say the word because I'm sitting on the mimbar of Imam Hussein. I'll spell it. It was called PIMP, My Ride. Again, a lot of people relate to this. And it was about taking a car to a shop and they fix up the car and they change it and make it very beautiful. Again, nobody could afford that. 99% of the kids couldn't afford that. So they started doing all sorts of things to change the way their cars look because they thought it was cool. And at the time, no one could, like I said, you cannot go and speak sense to someone and say, well, what are you doing to your car? This looks weird. This looks bad. This looks obnoxious. This looks funny. To him, this looked right out of that TV show on MTV. And today, things have become worse and more dangerous for you. Why? Because there is something called reality TV, but it's not reality TV. When we were watching the Hollywood films, we knew they were fake. Today, you watch something called reality TV when it's not reality. It's fake. Producers are saying, it's fake. They're acting. But we just call it reality TV because people love the drama. In fact, a lot of producers, and you know about this, some people that read the New York Times and the news, you've seen the articles come out today, that a lot of people who were on reality shows were forced to say things, they were actors. And if they didn't, they were asked to leave they'll sack them, the producer will sack them out of the show. You gotta create some drama. Don't eat for a few days, slam that door, slap your friend, do this, do that. We need some drama. Start crying, yelling, do something. We need more views. Now I'm watching this reality TV, keeping up with the Kardashians, and now everybody wants to be Kim Kardashian. That's wrong. You're not on reality TV. She's on reality TV. She's being paid. She's making millions. You're just making yourself miserable. You're just making your family miserable. That is the reality. We have to wake up. We're not on some TV show. Also, a lot of us are passionate. A lot of the youth are passionate and they have a lot of great ideas. But you have to trust somebody who is older than you to help you with those ideas. Or else you're going to be fatigued. You're going to be tired of trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. Somebody before you has gone and has had those same thoughts and there is nobody that's going to help you more than your parents. You need your parents for success. They're not your enemy. At home, there are no two camps. My camp and my parents. It's only one camp. That's the family. Make sure you understand this. And when we gather tonight, brothers and sisters, we remember the ashab. The vast majority, though we spoke of Habib, the vast majority of the ashab of Imam al-Hussein were young men. Young. One of them comes to Imam al-Hussein to seek permission. And the Maqatil say, they don't even mention his name. They say, Shabun qutila abuhu fil ma'raka. A young man, his father had just died. He comes to Imam al-Hussein. He stands in front of the tent of Imam al-Hussein. He says, Assalamu alayk ya Aba Abdullah. أتأذن لي بالبراز يا أبا Abdullah, do you give me permission to stand in your defense? Imam al-Hussein says to him, your father has just been martyred and I want to send you back to your mother. Your mother would not be able to handle such a devastation, losing her husband and then moments later losing her son. Go back to your mom. Few moments later, the tent of Imam al-Hussein opens. This mother comes with her son. She says to him, Ya Aba Abdullah, أتثكل أمك الزهراء بولدها الحسين ولا أثكل بولدي هيهات هيهات. Abu Abdullah, your mother Fatima is going to lose a son. She's going to be crying for her son. And I'm not going to be crying for my son. Never, Ya Abu Abdullah. I'm going to make sure that my son goes before the son of Imam al-Hussein, before the son of Rasulullah. He was a teenager. He looked at the army of the enemies and he raised his voice, Amiri Hussein wa ni'mal Amir. بشرور فؤاد البشير النذير أبوه علي وفاطمة هل تعلمون له من نظير. He says, my Amir is Hussein, my master is Hussein, my commander is Hussein, and he is the best of commanders. His father is Ali and his mother is Fatima. You know anyone as noble as he is? He fought until he fell on the sands of Karbala. Allahu Akbar. Another young man was whom? Wahab al-Kalbi, this Christian man who had just joined Imam al-Hussein. His mom and his wife say to him, you go and defend Hussein, but don't become a martyr. We just got married a few days ago. His mother says to him, you defend Imam al-Hussein, but let us go back to our families. He goes and he comes back every other moment. One of the times when he returns, his mother says to him, Ya Wahab, I've changed my mind. Go and give your life for Hussein. He says to her, mother, what has happened? She said, I cannot bear the cries of the son of Fatima calling out, Ala hal min nasirin yansuruna, Ala hal min mu'inin yu'inuna, wa nahnu alu bayt Rasulillah. Is there anyone to come to our rescue? We are the children and the progeny of Rasulullah. Another young man, brothers and sisters, was the one who came to Imam al-Hussein at the time of his salah. He says, Ya Aba Abdullah, you're about to perform your last salah. Allow me to be your shield. Sa'id ibn Abdullah al-Hanbali, he came to him. Imam al-Hussein says to him, yes, indeed, I give you permission to shield me in my salah. He stood. An arrow after next came and landed in the chest of this young man. After the salah was over, Imam al-Hussein hugged him. He held him. He looked at Imam. He says to him, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya ibn Rasulillah, our feet. Did I do my part? Are you pleased with me? Allahu Akbar. Sallallahu alayk ya Aba Abdullah wa ala al-ashab alladhina badhalu muhajahum dun al-Husayn alayhi as-salam. Ya Sayyidana wa Mawlana, إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا. All of you brothers and sisters, يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا. MashaAllah, all of us. Ya wajihan اشفع لنا عند Allah. Those who want to receive the visitation of Imam al-Hussein, inshallah, in Arba'een. Those who want the shafa'ah of Imam al-Hussein, one more time. Ya wajihan عند Allah. اللهم ادخل على أهل القبور السرور. اللهم شافي وعافي كل مريض. اللهم سد فقرنا بغناك. اللهم غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك. اللهم اقض عنا الدين وأجرنا من الفقر إنك على كل شيء قدير. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات. Tonight, brothers and sisters, it is Thursday night. All the marhumin, we don't need to mention them, but you know them, your families, your friends, the lovers of Hussein. It is time for us to give this majlis to them and give the thawab of Fatiha, especially for the ruh marhumin. Sayyid Azhar Hussein Razvi. Al-Fatiha ma'as-salawat. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Fatima Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. ए मुसलमान आज भी ये पूछती है करबला. ए मुसलमान आज भी ये पूछती है करबला. ए मुसलमान आज भी ये पूछती है करबला. ए मुसलमान आज भी
کس جرم میں مصطفیٰ کے، کس جرم میں مصطفیٰ کے گھر کو ہے جدا ہوا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا، اے مسلمان آج بھی محسن انسانیت کے قتل کے فوراً ہی بعد، محسن انسانیت کے قتل کے فوراً ہی بعد چھن گئی مخدومیں، چھن گئی مخدومیں کونین کے سر سے ردا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا۔ کربلا سے شام تک زینب کو چادر نہ ملی، کربلا سے شام تک زینب کو چادر نہ ملی، کیا یہی اجر رسالت، کیا یہی اجر رسالت تو نے سرور کو دیا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا۔ کیا دکھائے گا محمد کو وہ چہرہ حشر میں، کیا دکھائے گا محمد کو وہ چہرہ حشر میں، مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیوں کو، مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیوں کو جس نے ہے رسوا کیا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا۔ ناز کرتا ہے خدا بھی تیرے سجدے پہ حسین، ناز کرتا ہے خدا بھی تیرے سجدے پہ حسین، تیروں کے سائے میں تو نے، تیروں کے سائے میں تو نے جو کیا سجدہ ادا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا۔ کر تجھے بھی چاہیے خوشنودی زارا تو سن، کر تجھے بھی چاہیے خوشنودی زارا تو سن، ثانیے زہرا کے غم میں، ثانیے زہرا کے غم میں تو بھی آنسو بہا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا، کس جرم میں مصطفیٰ کے، کس جرم میں مصطفیٰ کے گھر کو ہے لوٹا گیا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا، اے مسلمان آج بھی یہ پوچھتی ہے کربلا، یا حسین، یا حسین، یا حسین۔ ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا، ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا، ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا، ہائے سادات کیا دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا اپنی آنکھوں سے سدا خون میں ہوتا دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا جس گھرانے نے صدا لوگوں کو خوشیاں بانٹی جس گھرانے نے صدا لوگوں کو خوشیاں بانٹی ان کو خوشیاں نہ ملی غم ہی زیادہ دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا وہ محمد کے جو رحمت ہے زمانے کے لیے وہ محمد کے جو رحمت ہے زمانے کے لیے ان کی نالین کو بھی خون میں ڈوبا دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا سبز گنبد کے قریب مرقد زہرا ہے مگر سبز گنبد کے قریب مرقد زہرا ہے مگر باپ نے بیٹی کی تربت پہ نہ سایہ دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا جس کے بازو تیردا زینب کبریٰ کے لیے جس کے بازو تیردا زینب کبریٰ کے لیے کیسے بی بی نے اسے بازو بریدا دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا گر گئی خاک پہ غش خاک علی کی بیٹی گر گئی خاک پہ غش خاک علی کی بیٹی پوچھا سغرا نے کہ پردیس میں کیا کیا دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا ہائے سادات نے اس دہر میں کیا کیا دیکھا محمد وآل محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك رسول الله يا محمد ابن عبد الله السلام عليك يا حبيب الله السلام عليك يا نبي الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين يا علي بن أبي طالب السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى أم المؤمنين السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي المجتبى السلام عليك يا حسين بن علي الشهيد كربلاء السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين زين العابدين السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الباقر السلام عليك يا جعفر بن محمد الصادق السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر الصادق السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الجواد السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد الهادي. السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي العسكري. السلام عليك يا حجة الله يا ابن الحسن يا صاحب العصر والزمان. الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان. السلام عليك يا أهل البيت النبوة جميع ورحمة الله وبركاته.